Not everyone who asks for money is a scammer. Not everyone who talks about charity is an opportunist. But when someone asks people to believe in them and eventually to put their money in their hands, we have a responsibility to ask questions. Who is this person? Where did they come from? What did they do before they became famous? What was their life like before the platform, before the followers, and before the donations? And has the image they present today always matched the person they were before? Because opportunists do not always begin by asking for money. Sometimes they begin by building an image. They create a story. They gain attention. They become familiar. And slowly people begin to believe in them. Eventually that belief can become influence, and influence can become money. That is why we should never look only at what someone tells us today. So don't judge someone only by the image they present today. Examine their past, question their claims, and when money is involved, ask the questions that matter. Who receives it? What is it actually being used for? And can the claims be independently verified? This brings us to another name, Lily J. To many people online, she became more than just an influencer. She became a familiar face, a woman presenting herself as someone who was using her platform to help people in need. Her content reached a large audience, and over time, people began to recognize her simply as Lily. Her image became closely connected with charity, humanitarian work, and helping people in difficult situations. Before Lily J publicly shared her Shahada, there were already signs of an earlier connection to Islam. But there is something else worth noticing. Photos from around 2018 circulated online showing Lily J and her husband posing in front of the Kaaba. So if these images were part of her earlier Islamic journey, why did they later disappear from her social media? Why were they removed? What changed between then and now? And was there a reason she no longer wanted those images to remain publicly visible? We don't know, but the images disappeared, and the question remains. But the bigger issue is not simply her image. It is what happens when an influencer becomes associated with charity and humanitarian work. Something powerful begins to happen. People begin to trust the person, they trust the story, and eventually they may be willing to put their money behind that trust. That is why we have to look beyond the image and ask, what can actually be verified? Where is the evidence? And where is the money going? So the question is not simply whether people were asked for money. The more important question is, what exactly were they being asked to pay for? A charitable donation? Or a commercial humanitarian service? Because those are not the same thing. In addition, questions had arisen about various humanitarian activities linked to Lily J, including her claims about aid to Gaza, a bakery, and the scale of the food aid provided. Some images and videos also appeared to contain elements allegedly generated or manipulated using artificial intelligence. And that only added to the questions, why were the images manipulated and for what purpose? And that is not all, because in 2023, Lily J and her husband were arrested in Thailand. According to police reports, they were allegedly involved in a theft case. The case involved 2.5 million Thai baht. The money allegedly belonged to a Chinese man. And then, in July 2026, the story took a much more serious turn. ABC News Verify investigated the Lily J Foundation and reported finding evidence of AI-generated and manipulated material in its humanitarian content. One of the most striking examples involved an alleged orphanage in Uganda. A video showed Lily J announcing the opening of the orphanage. She appeared surrounded by children, but ABC News Verify reported something extraordinary. The woman shown in the opening sequence was not the real Lily J. And the children, the foundation banner, and other elements of the footage appeared to have been generated or manipulated using AI. And it did not stop there. Other videos from Gaza were also questioned. Some appeared to contain manipulation. In one video, the Lily J Foundation logo appeared on a truck, but the logo appeared to have been added digitally. The foundation also claimed to have opened a bakery in Gaza. ABC News Verify could not verify the bakery. Its location could not be confirmed. No independent evidence was found. Humanitarian sources were also contacted. They had not heard of the foundation. Then came another discovery. Lily J was presented as receiving an international humanitarian award, but ABC analyzed the images. They appeared to be AI generated. The images even contained evidence of an OpenAI Synth ID watermark, and then things began to disappear. ABC News Verify had contacted Lily J. They had also contacted her foundation. Soon after, the orphanage video was removed. Other questioned content also disappeared. Some of it was removed from social media. Some was removed from the websites. ABC also reported changes to the donation options. The foundation's disclaimer was also changed, and this raises a serious question. If the work is genuine, why is the evidence becoming harder to verify? This is not a claim of fraud. It is a question of transparency. When people donate money, they deserve to know the truth. What is real? What was generated by AI? And where is the money going? Because the person people trust does not always have to be a preacher. Sometimes, all it takes is influence, a large audience, a carefully built image, and trust. And finally, there is one more question that deserves attention. Some of Lily J's older content from her time as a singer is still available online, including videos in which she appears in revealing clothing. This stands in sharp contrast to the image she later presented as a Muslim influencer. So why was this content never removed? Why leave behind a public record that appears so different from the image being presented today? And this is not about comparing Lily J to anyone else. It is about the digital footprint people leave behind. We have seen former adult performers ask for their old content to be removed because they feared that their children might one day come across it. So the question remains, if someone is concerned about how their past is perceived today, why keep that past publicly available?